In this episode, we talk about the successful launch of the ISRO Rocket, which has been nicknamed the Naughty Boy. We also give you a quick update about Rahul Gandhi's visit to Wayanad. But first, we talk about the farmers' protests and explain why they have offered some relief to the Bhagwant Mann-led AAP government in Punjab. Hi, this is Niharika Nanda, and you are listening to Three Things, an Indian Express news show. Until the beginning of this month, the AAP government in Punjab was inundated with multiple issues. They were facing protests from the local teachers, a union of the unemployed which had been demanding jobs, and of course the farmers. Plus, on the top of this, an arrest of a prominent YouTuber had sparked agitation across the state. But after the farmers' call to march to Delhi, things seemed to have turned around for them. To understand what exactly changed for them, we have Indian Express's Raakhi Jagga joining us from Punjab in this segment. So Raakhi, before the farmers' protests started, what were the kind of issues that the Punjab government was facing?
Yeah, actually, before the farmers' protest, Punjab government, the Aam Aadmi Party government, they were facing a lot of protests, not only from the farmer unions, but even from the other sectors as well, like the unemployed unions, the teachers, the government teacher unions, the clerical unions of the district administration, electricity employees. I mean, in a sense, they were surrounded by protests from all the spheres. And not only this, on January 22, they had arrested a YouTuber named Bhana Sidhu. He's Barnala based, on charges of extortion. Based on his fan following, a number of persons, they tried to protest against this arrest, and they had stated that the charges are fabricated or so. I mean, these were their allegations. However, on February 3, they had planned a big protest as well in Sangrur. But most of the protesters, big names like the former CM Charanjit Channi, he was not allowed to reach till the protest site. And even the Sangrur's MP, he's from Shiromani Akali Dal Amritsar. He was also detained in his house. And a number of other persons, they were also detained in the police stations. There was lathi charge at the site.
And when we talk about the farmers, we understand that they also had certain demands for the Punjab government. Can you talk about them a bit?
The biggest farmer union of Punjab, this is Bharati Kisan Union Ekta Ugraha. They had organized day-night dharnas from February 6 to February 10 outside the district administration offices across the state to press upon their demands, like there were floods in Punjab in July and August in many parts of Punjab, and a large number of farmers, they are yet to get the compensation, while the chief minister in his public speeches had mentioned that he will give this compensation at the earliest, and he had said that even if anybody's minor loss has also happened, even that will also be compensated. But a number of farmers claim that they haven't been given compensation. Last year, there were untimely rains in March and April, and even at that time, there was some crop loss. So a number of farmers are claiming that their compensation is pending. And last year, a flood-like situation had happened in Muktsar in July. For that, even the chief minister had done an aerial survey of the entire flooded area as well. A number of houses, they had also been damaged. So all those people, they are claiming that a large part of the compensation is still pending. I mean, in the last 2 years, ever since Aam Aadmi Party has come into power, the compensation to the families of the farmers who committed suicide, that is also pending. And the biggest demand was that last year, Aam Aadmi Party had announced that they are coming up with an agriculture policy for the state. And for that, they had organized a number of programs throughout the state in which they had sought feedback from the farmers by organizing camps, and they had met the farmer unions. They had taken so much of feedback from them as well. And Punjab Chief Minister, he had announced that the agriculture policy will be out by March end. And then the was further postponed, maybe July or so. But till date, the agriculture policy has also not come. And then they were reminding the Chief Minister of all those promises. For that, they had organized the dharnas.
And Raakhi, how did the Punjab government react to these demands and protests?
No, Punjab government, they had always been saying that we are looking into all the demands. Although, I mean, when they used to protest, as I've said earlier as well, that if they are going to protest against a particular minister or so force used to be used against them, not to allow them to reach till that venue. But otherwise, they were of the opinion that we are just 2 years old government and we are looking into all the issues related to the farmers and we are resolving a lot of things and give us some time and we will resolve the rest of the issues in the duration of the government which we are having. This was their claim, and on number of the demands, they used to stay silent as well.
And now that the farmers are protesting against the central government, in what way has the behavior of the AAP government changed in Punjab?
The one thing is that, as I mentioned, that Punjab government was surrounded by protests from the various spheres, from the various unions. So the biggest farmer union, BKU Grahan, they postponed their Chandigarh Chalo March on February 24. They had to go to the CMS, and so they said we are postponing this thing indefinitely for the time being. They had to organize a number of conferences ahead of the Chandigarh Chalo March, and they have even cancelled those as well. And there were many other unions as well who were protesting against the government. So all the protests against the state government, I mean, there is a pause against all those protests. And now, as the chief minister, he's coming up as an advocate for the farmers, and he's projecting himself that I'm your advocate or I am your mediator, and I'm here to get your voice heard till the center. So the government is saying that we are pro farmers and we are standing like a rock with you, but when it comes to their demands, so they were silent over it. In a number of protests, even they were using force as well against the farmers and other unions as well.
Right. And all the other unions that you mentioned in the beginning, the BKU, the Unemployed Joint Front of Punjab, so how did they all react to this?
In a way, they are feeling that the state government has diverted the entire attention towards the center. And now, I mean, it's the time that they need to support the protesting farmers at the borders rather than to continue their pre-announced programs to protest against the state government for the demands which they had been asking for. So in a way, they are saying that the state government has cleverly the attention to another thing, because once they have come as an advocate or as a supporter for the protesting farmers at the borders.
And Rakhi, do we know what the AAP government in Punjab has to say about these allegations and developments?
I had an interaction with the spokesperson, Malvinder Singh, that, I mean, people are feeling that attention has been diverted because so many things are pending against the AAP government as well. So he said that at the moment, whatever is happening at the borders, all the demands of those farmers who wanted to go to Delhi, they were related to the center. So naturally, they are also acting as a mediator between the farmers and the center so that their voices can be heard. And he said, on the other hand, in the state is doing a lot towards the farmers already. And he said the current Chief Minister, Bhagwant Mann, he is the only Chief Minister who had met a number of farmer unions. I mean, he had met them multiple times and claimed that no other Chief Minister in the past had interacted with the farmer unions so many times. He also said that they are working on how to preserve the groundwater and how to make the irrigation through the canal water possible, because when they came over, the irrigation was only the 30% of the area under agriculture that was being done. Irrigation in that area was being done through the canals. The area has increased to 45%. Then he said, this shows that we are working for the farmers and whatever available resources they have. He claimed that they are doing the best for the farmers. And it's not that they are diverting any attention or they are running away from their responsibilities.
And next, we will discuss yet another feather in ISRO's cap. Last week, the Indian Space Research Organization successfully launched a new powerful weather satellite into the orbit, the INSAT 3DS.
4, 3, 2, 1.
L40 stages are ignited.
A perfectly top GSLV F-14 INSAT 3DS progressing towards its destination.
Now, this satellite, as you just heard, was launched atop a GSLV rocket. which has earned the nickname Naughty Boy because of its relatively spotty record in the past. At least 4 of the GSLV's 16 launches so far have failed. However, this time around, everything went exactly as planned. In fact, it was described as a textbook launch by the space agency. Anonna Dutt, who covers health and science for the Indian Express, joins us in this segment to explain the purpose and the significance of this mission. So, Anonna, to start with, can you explain what this INSAT 3DS weather satellite is? What purpose does it serve, and how exactly is it going to help the Indian scientists and weathermen?
So this satellite is the latest in the INSAT series of satellites. It is a weather satellite which will be basically taking over the function of the previously launched satellites INSAT 3D and INSAT 3DR. However, because it's now been a few years since we launched those satellites, the current one has been upgraded. It has better imaging capability. It has a lot of transponders, and is supposed to give better quality data for meteorology and basically anything like looking for forest cover, snow cover, climate studies, things like that. So the data will be used by a lot of scientific institutions like the India Meteorological Department, then INCOIS, and a lot of the other scientific institutes under the Ministry of Earth Sciences, which is funding this project.
And the rocket that launched it into space, the Naughty Boy as it's commonly called, has a pretty interesting track record. Can you talk about the rocket and why this mission is so important?
So this was a very important mission for the rocket, more so than the main payload that it was carrying. This was a test for the GSLV vehicle, which has been nicknamed anything from the Naughty Boy to the generally sea-loving vehicle by the scientists and reporters alike. This is because, it had a spotty record. Not too bad. 4 of the 16 launches so far have failed. However, when we compare this to, say, a PSLV, which is the most commonly used rocket by ISRO, it has had 60 launches and only 3 have failed so far, and that too during the initial days of the launch vehicle. And in comparison, if we look at the heaviest launch vehicle of ISRO called LVM-3, that has had 7 missions so far, including the latest Chandrayaan mission, and none of them have failed. So it is a very reliable vehicle, and now slowly with the successes of GSLV over the years, ISRO is saying that we have ensured that this vehicle also is a trustworthy vehicle. The only thing is that in 21 it suffered a setback. There was a failure in its August launch in 2021, and when the failure analysis was done, the space agency realized that there was a problem with certain valves which resulted in a low pressure in the hydrogen tank in the cryogenic upper stage. So basically the cryogenic engine, which is the main engine, the last engine which places the satellite in orbit, that malfunctioned because its fuel, which is hydrogen, could not be pumped properly into the system in the 2021 launch.
And the same rocket is also going to carry the Nisar satellite later this year. Can you talk about this mission and the role this rocket will play?
So, as I mentioned earlier, this is a rocket which has had a bit of a spotty record. And Nisar, which is a satellite that has been developed together by NASA and ISRO, it's a synthetic aperture radar satellite which basically helps in looking at the sea surface and the land surface and monitoring things such as ice cover and looking at long-term weather changes. It's a very good and very expensive satellite, and that's why this mission was sort of important to prove that GSLV is now a trustworthy launch vehicle, especially because of the 2021 setback. So that was also one of the importance of the mission.
So was the GSLV able to prove itself as a worthy vehicle this time around? And what went right during this mission?
This current mission also demonstrated two good things about the GSLV rocket. One, it was able to perform very well and in fact provide some 2,800 kilometers excess altitude to the satellite, which then means that it will have to expend lesser fuel to change the orbits, and it will increase the orbit lifetime by 3 months according to the scientists. Other than that, another important thing with this mission was the payload fairing. Payload fairing is basically the top part of the rocket where the satellite is housed. So it's like a heat cover and the protected section of the launch vehicle in which the satellite is put to protect it from the atmosphere while it travels up. So this current mission actually used the new 4-meter ogive payload fairing, which has been developed by ISRO to create more space in that area for bigger satellites. Now, this payload fairing was also used in the previous GSLV mission in 2023, but this time the satellite was actually bigger and it was housed in this bigger payload fairing. And this mission also led to an increase in the capacity of the launch vehicle to put satellites in orbit by 50 kg. So these were some things that were demonstrated by this mission.
Right. And Anonna, what do the experts say about how important these satellites are?
So when we think of space technology or, ISRO, the first thing that comes to mind are these, fantastic launches and landing on the moon or studying the sun. But most of the work that ISRO does is launching satellites which can help us in day-to-day life. You would have communication satellites which help in anything from these telephone calls, internet connectivity, banking services to, satellite TV. All of that is taken care of with that. Then we have Earth observation satellites which basically help in our day-to-day, weather forecasting services. They can warn you about any extreme weather events, things like that. Other than that, we also have navigational satellites which basically have help in developing a desi form of GPS, which is more accurate over India. So most of ISRO's work is connecting space to day-to-day life, and satellites like INSAT and other communication and other types of satellites essentially help in keeping up all the things that we are now very used to and which would not be possible without these satellites in the sky.
And in the end, we talk about Rahul Gandhi's visit to Wayanad. Yesterday, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi visited the houses of 2 victims of the recent elephant attacks in Wayanad and consoled their family members. The Wayanad MP halted his Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra in Varanasi in the wake of protests by locals who were seeking solutions to the human-animal conflicts in his constituency. Addressing a press conference in his constituency, Rahul slammed the state government for delay in building a medical college in Wayanad and said that he had written to the chief minister requesting him to please expedite this matter. His visit came a day after Paul, a man who was seriously injured in another wild elephant attack on Friday morning, died at the Kozhikode Medical College. Rahul Gandhi said that people have been facing these tragedies for some time now and that the administration should pay the compensation to the victims' families quickly and effectively.
So I cut short my Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra and came here to speak to the people who lost their family members, to condole with them, and also to speak to the administration here. We've told the administration that they need to pay the compensation quickly and effectively and not delay the compensation that has been happening over the last couple of months. We also suggested to look into setting up and testing an early warning system. They've told us that there is
Last week, after the tragedy took place, a district-wide hartal was called by the ruling LDF, opposition UDF, and the BJP to seek permanent solutions to the man-animal conflicts in the region. Meanwhile, the Congress MP is also expected to visit the house of Prajesh, who was also killed in a tiger attack recently. You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar and produced by Shashank Bhargava, Rahel Philipose and me, Niharika Nanda. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it and share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Audio and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.